Well, I think a few people might still join us, but maybe we could just make a start. Well, good afternoon or good morning, everyone, wherever you're coming from. My name is Dawn Gregg. I'm the Senior Director with Picote Solutions, and we're really excited to bring you this webinar today on the new Picote Xpress Coating System. So we're going to be doing a live demonstration from our training centre in Porvoo in Finland. And you can see our awesome team there. We've got Kimo and Yuka standing by to tell you all about this excellent system. So with this system, you're going to be able to coat from DN70 up to DN300 pipes. That's 3" up to 12". You can do smaller pipe too. We can also do the 1¼ DN32 up to DN50 2" pipes as well. That's with our smaller hose package, which we'll be talking about a little bit later on. But to start with, we're going to talk you through the process of setting up the system. We're going to tell you all about the amazing resin, which enables this to now cure in around 1 hour, or even in less than an hour if you apply heat with the Picote heater. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. And I think the best thing is just to let the guys take you through everything, explain it all properly. They're the technical ones. And they've already prepared the pipe. So, of course, with everything that we do, preparing the pipe in advance is absolutely paramount. And of course, in this case, they will have used a Picote high-speed miller to prepare the pipe properly first to make sure it's completely clean. And that enables the process and helps with the bonding as well. So, Kimo, I'm going to pass over to you now, and you can take us through how you set up the system. And of course, once it's set up, it's very straightforward. And then yourself and Yuka can take us through the coating process. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dawn. So, my name is Kimmo, and I'm going to get you through the Xpress system. So, I'll be moving the camera so it's a little bit easier to show how everything works. So basically, here we have the pump, and then down here we have the hose reel for the coating hoses, and the hose reel 40 meters of coating hoses. The hose reel connects to the pump with these hoses down here. And these connectors seal themselves when they are removed, so the resin is not going to leak out from the either end. So this hose is the hardener, and then here the other hose is for the base. And the mixing ratio of the resin is 1-to-1. And when I connect the hoses from the hose reel to the pump, I can't mismatch these hoses, so this connector only fits on the right connector on the pump. Also, we have the resin in the pump, and we have the resin in the coating hoses on the reel, so they actually act as a storage for the resin. So every time you stop coating, the resin is in the hoses and it won't be leaking out from there. And so the next time you start the coating, you have the hose reel already filled with resin. Here we have a remote for the system. So basically, I have the emergency switch here, the speed of the pump, and the hose retraction. Also, the hose reel is motorized, so when I reel back the hoses, let's say I go 20 meters, I need to get that 20 meters back to the hose reel, I can just press the hose retraction button and reel the hoses back to the hose reel. The hose reel and the pump has a heating. So just adjust the camera a little bit. Sorry for the noise if you can hear it. So under here we have heated cylinders to make the resin flow. And on the hose reel we have this heating blanket. So that is when you start the work, we heat the system up to get the viscosity of the resin lower, so it then flows through all of those hoses. And the hose reel has these the hoses from the hose reel last basically forever, and then these hoses which are connected to the hydraulic coating hoses is like a sacrificial part of the system. So these I can cut if needed and then replace easily. Just with the basic tools you can replace these sacrificial hoses to the coating hoses. So basically you can do DN70 and up with the hose reel. But when we go to smaller diameter pipes, we have a hose kit for that. So just a second, I will get that. So in case I want to coat DN50 or if there's a tight DN70 pipe, so then I have this small diameter hose kit shown here. So basically, then I'm not going to use the hose reel. I connect this to the pump, and this replaces the hose reel. And to this system, I will add coating, two coating hoses for hardener and for the base. And then front of those hoses comes the static mixture. And then I can coat DN50 pipe. And after coating, again, these hoses are plugged and you can store the resin inside of this small diameter hose kit, so it will basically last forever. And if I need to coat DN32, so even smaller pipe, then I have this kit which I connect front of the static mixer. And this is 5 meters. So with this connector, I connect this 5 meters of hose to front of the static mixer. But this then is like single use kit. The machine itself is that you can coat from DN 32 millimeters to 300. So next, let's go through the pump. Here we have the containers for resin, top of the pistons. And the hydraulic cylinders are down here. So now we have just finished, let's say, our previous coat, and we have run the pump completely dry. And we want to fill the cylinders. We open the safety door from the pump, and then this valve has to be open position. And I already have filled these tanks halfway, but let's say on the day-to-day basis you can fill these completely full, and when you do the work you can do approximately 3 strokes with the full tanks, and then you have to refill the tanks. But there's never pressure or vacuum on these containers, so they are like basically free breathing. And how do you close this? The tanks from the cylinders are these valves down here. So now when I want to fill the system, so I want to get the resin from these containers down to the pistons or the cylinders. Just try to adjust the camera. So when I want to fill this, I take my remote. And then again, there is a safety systems that you can't put your hand in here if the door is open. So we have an emergency switch on the hinge. Then also we have these 3 emergency stops, one in the hose reel, one on the pump here, and then one on the controller or the remote control. So when I want to fill the system, I have to have this open, and I put the pump on the filling mode from here. So there's a switch, filling and coating. So now I went to the filling mode. The pump tells me connect hoses and open lid plugs. So basically it means these hoses down here, and then the lid plugs are up here. So they're open. I press check. And now the pump tells me here, it's a LCD screen, so it tells me filling mode, open valves, and the valves are here. Now they're opened, I start the pump. And now we go up. And the resin from the containers is going down into the pump.
I would like to just say, if anybody does have any questions at any point, you can pop them into the Q&A, and the team will be happy to answer them at the end.
So basically, the tanks are now lifting up and the resin is going down. And now when I go up, of course, I lose the resin down to the pump, but nothing is moving into the hoses at this point. And these containers can be opened just like this. So if I want to add more resin, of course, it's the easiest way when the pump is on the down position, but you can still add the resin at this point or whenever it's convenient during the job. And also we have the catalyst is black. So, okay, now we reach the top position. So the catalyst color is black and the base is white. So it's not, let's say, easy to mix them up when you fill those. So they are the same color as the resin itself. But basically, now we are ready to coat. Pump is filled and we can go towards the coating process. So let's take the hoses out of the reel. So first we remove the heating blanket. And by the way, one thing you can do, let's say if you store the resin longer time into the hose reel and into the pump, it might get crystallized. Or let's say that if you keep the pump and the hose reel in the cold environment and you want to heat it up, you can connect the hoses in top of the pump on these connectors. And then you can recirculate the system. And it takes 3 times when we pump the resin all the way down. It takes 3 strokes to circulate the resin 100% from the pump and through the hose reel. So that is also one way to revive the resin if it has sit in the hose reel for longer periods of time, let's say 2 months or 1 year, and then you continue coating. So that's one way to make the resin good again. And by the way, we have, I don't know how well it picks up in the camera, but here temperature of the pump heating. So the cylinders are heated the set temperature of the cylinder is 40 degrees Celsius, and now we have 39.8, so they are basically fully heated. And we have the same for the heating blanket down there. So it's set to 38 degrees, and now it's like 26. And the heating blanket itself has a thermostat. So I'll just show it quickly here. So the heating blanket thermostat is located on this tail. So when the heating blanket is used with the Xpress, the tail is pushed through the hoses inside the hose reel, that it just gets the real temperature reading. So basically, because this is a heating mat, and if you have the tail inside the heating mat, it thinks that it's already heated up, even it's not. But now we have this warm and cozy, so we can go with the coating, or start with the coating. And yeah, on the hose reel, we have the reel brake down here. So it basically engages or disengages the motor you can use to reel the hoses back to the hose reel. So I just open this a little bit that I can take the hoses out. And let's say if you are doing a 3-story building, you can leave the pump and the hose reel on the first floor and just take the hoses upstairs and do your work there. So this is the only consumable you lose between the coats. So this is the static mixer, and well, this is the old style, so non-transparent, but there is a mixer inside here, and this is the only part what we lose with the resin between each coat. And the working time of course it depends on the temperature, but let's say 10 to 15 minutes. And if you need to have a break between the coats, between the work, you can take the brush out of the pipe and then just pump the resin through this static mixture, and then you will get more time with your static mixture if you don't want to change it and so on. So let's start building our coating setup. So yeah, I can be the cameraman, so yeah. I will give Jukka.
But we are using a 2-brush. The pipe is DN100 and rear brush is DN100 size, and the front is a little bit bigger. In this case it's 125 because we are coating the straight pipe. If you are having a multiple bends, for example, then you can use also DN150 size brush on the front. And what is important is this small part on the top of the brush system. So it's a brush stopper, because the body of the brushes is nylon and you're having a steel screws. It's so easy to over tight the screws. That's why this is very important. If you lose your brush touch to the shaft, you don't lose your brush inside the pipe. And then I will start to set up the system so that I will put the static mixer first, maybe 4 centimeters behind of the rear brush, and I'm just using a tape. Then I will take my camera and I'm checking it from the screen that I can see as much from the process as it is possible. It's maybe about 20 centimeters behind of the rear brush from here. Again, tape. Now I have already protect the camera spring with the tape, but if you don't do that before, then it's good to put the tape also around the camera spring. The cleaning afterwards is much more easier when you are not having a resin between the camera spring over here. And then I need to turn a little bit. And I'll take these resin delivery hoses, and we're having these red caps over it so that you don't have leakages during the transportation. I just take them off and I push them to the connector. No matter which hose, black or white, is going in which connector, so because they are connecting together and mixing in this black part. And I'm securing these with tape. And I will put also one piece of tape a little bit behind of the connector, because we have built the brushes to the leader, so the connector over here is rotating and holding the brush package on right place. And before I start pumping the resin, I check that I'm having, for example, cleaning wipes nearby me, and I'm having some tools, knife, pliers beside me. So if something happens during the work, you don't need to hassle around and search where is everything. Now we are almost ready to start. We are just a little bit of resin so that I can see that there are no blockages on, for example, on the static mixer. And Kimmo is holding the pump control unit, and he's also.
So I'm just trying to show the pump. So we want to see when we mix the resin together, we want to see the gray and the gray color coming out of the static mixer, because the base color is white and the catalyst is black. But how this all works, so of course if Jukka would be now doing the job, or let's say I'm on the pump, then I will be operating the remote control, but it depends where you are, if the pump is downstairs or if you can't reach the remote controls, and so then maybe the other guy does it. But you can also, usually the remote control is the one who is doing the actual job. So now how the pump works, now we have built the pump, we are on the up position. I put the pump on the coating mode here. And then I close the base valve first. So now I have isolated my coating storage tank from the cylinder. And then I start pumping, and down here I have the pressure gauges. Because of the base is much thicker than the catalyst, the pressure will lift first from the pressure of the hoses will first lift from the base. So what I'm doing, I'm just observing when I see this gauge moving just a little bit, I just close this catalyst valve and then I have equal pressure on the both of the hoses. And it's not super accurate. It's enough that when I see that this gauge is starting to gain the pressure, I just close this valve and it's good to go. And it's simple as that. So we have the coating mode. Everything is ready. I start the pump from the remote control. I see the pressure lifting and the pump is slowly going down. And we can see the resin coming out from the static mixer. And now I stop the pump. And of course we still get some flow because there is still pressure inside all of the hoses. But now also the resin, what is coming out, it's starting to stop leaking out of the static mixer. But basically we are good to go. We can start the coating. So we leave the pump behind us and now we are not touching the pump anymore. So we focus on the coating job. So here we have some cast iron pipe and we are just coating that. And let's see if we can also have the camera to the picture, but on the end, when we reach the pipe end, I will put the webcam next to the pipe so we can see some coating happening in there and get the better picture. So actually, I will give the remote control to Jukka because he's doing the actual coating here.
And now I'm on that point where I want to start coating. Of course, because you are having a camera, sometimes it could be a little bit difficult to see where you are, but in basic, on the main lines, verticals or horizontal pipes, you just go on that point where you know that this is the right point where I start. When you are on the laterals, you just go into the main from the connection and start from the main side, and then just pull it to the lateral. And now I'm just starting to pump, and in the same time I'm rotating the miller with the brushes, and the brushes are rotating and kind of painting the resin around the pipe walls.
Let's see if I can move the camera a little bit closer.
Following from the picture that I'm having a resin circle around the brushes. And I'm just pulling the brushes back to the starting point.
now we are reaching the end.
So I will stop pumping because we are quite near. And I need to stop rotating the brushes until I come out from the pipe. Otherwise you will have a lot of resin all around you. And we are having an acetone inside that blue bucket. And that is the way how to clean the brushes. They are just inside in in the acetone, and I will take out of the camera and the static mixer, which is waste, and then I'm rotating brushes in the acetone and they will be clean and ready for the next job.
So basically now we go back to the square one before these layers, that we clean up everything, take the static mixer off, that is thrown away, and we can reel the hoses back to the hose reel. So we see the cleaning process next. And the pump itself, now we basically don't need to do anything with the pump. We can leave it as it is. And if I would want to, let's say, stop coating for the day and I want to store my pump, it's easy as that I just disconnect these hoses from down here and remove all the connectors and so on, and it's easy as that. So the pump doesn't need any cleaning whatsoever.
So basically, Kimmo, then the initial setup might take 10 or 15 minutes, but then when you come back to do a second or third coat, then it's no time at all. It's really quick then,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yeah, that is correct. So basically, it's always you heat up the system, and depending again on the ambient temperature, do you need to use the heating blanket and so how long? But when the hoses are taken out of the reel, you just install the static mixer to the end of the hoses and it's good to go. And of course, see that you have enough resin here when you go up, because when you fill the system and let's say that you get air in the system, then everything gets more difficult, right? And when you're using the pump and the pump is pressing the resin down to the cylinders and through the hose reels, you can actually at the same time, you can fill these tanks. But of course you need a second guy for that, right? But it's possible to refill these tanks while you are pushing the resin into the pipe or when you are filling this system. So these tanks up here never have a pressure or vacuum in them.
And then, Timo, with the battery part of it, you can have that plugged in as well and charging while you use it.
Yes, so the machine is battery powered and I can see the charge level from here. So now we have the 100%, but we have the battery capacity and voltage. We can see it from this little screen here. So basically, we cleaned the process because we can use them as many times we want if they are cleaned properly. So now, when Jukka is done with the process, we are going to reel back the hoses to the hose reel. So just a second. So just to show how this works, because it has a motor in it. And by the way, the hose reel has also the speed setting, how fast you want it to reel the hoses back. So I have the remote control again, and I have the button here. So now when I press the button, I can wind the hoses back to the hose reel. So it really saves time when you do longer coating jobs, let's say like 30 meters or whatever. Then this is easily done with the assistance of the motor. And again, we plug the end of the hoses so we don't get any resin dripping out when the hoses are stored.
But then the great thing about that is, of course, the resin can just stay there. It can stay in the pump, it can stay in the reel, ready to use the next time, and you don't have to do anything else.
Yes. So no need to wash hoses or clean them, just like wipe them from the outside if they get resin into them. And now we coated approximately a couple of meters of pipe. So we just used a little bit. So we have this scale here. I can actually move the camera closer so that we can see. So here we have the scale and the percentage, how much you have used from the stroke of the pump. So now the arrow is pointing to around 25%, what we used in the beginning. And when we go up, we have this like instructions in the sticker. So here it says split the system, close base valve first. So what I did in the beginning, I had to close the base, start the pump and see the pressure. So it's pretty much like, how could I say? The pump tells you what to do when you follow these instructions, and what it says in the LCD screen. It's really simple to use. Simple system. There's not many buttons or whatever, and yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Timo. I think like with everything that Picote does, it's simple but really sophisticated. So obviously Picote's really thought about everything. This has of course been tested extensively by Picote. And the main benefit for us, of course, even compared with our smaller coating system that you might all be used to, which is still an excellent system, the main benefit of the Xpress system, of course, is that there's substantially less waste, because now that it's mixing at the tip, it means that we don't need to discard all of that hose that we've been using previously. And also, of course, the accelerated cure time. So now you can cure in around 1 hour, depending on your ambient temperature, of course. But again, you can speed that process up using the Picote heater potentially too. So we're saving a lot of time at the work site compared with our other system, which, like I say, is also a really great system. But with this, you can really go further. We can coat up to 40 meters, 131 feet. With this system, from DN70 to DN300, so from 3-inch to 12-inch. And then, of course, we've got the smaller packages as well. Now, this is great for, of course, you can do swimming pools, you can do vertical stack pipes, like Yuka was talking about earlier, is a good one. You don't need to have access to your laterals, so you can make sure you rehabilitate those lines a lot more easily than you could otherwise. And especially when you've got that faster return to service. So that makes all of those works a lot more tangible and a really good possibility. So it's a fantastic system. If anyone has any questions about it, thank you so much, Kimo and Yuka, for that demonstration. As always, we've got the dream team there in Finland. You can come train with these guys. And that's another huge benefit with Picote. You can come and train with us. So we have a range of courses with certification as well, so that you can train on the system. You can tell your clients then, hey, we've trained on the system, and we can offer that. Go to Finland, train with our dream team there. We also have training available at our facility in Arizona in the US and in the UK as well. And we're not too far from Heathrow in the UK, so it's quite an easy one if you need to hop on a flight over. I would suggest that you do take the training. So even if you have used our existing system, of course, you'll understand all about the pipe preparation and about the actual brush setup and everything. But there are some differences, and it's always best to learn from the team as well. So that is a possibility. I'm going to put in the Q&A section some links for you, so you can find out about how to get in touch with us regarding training. Usually takes about 2 days to do a full coating with certification training, or 1 day if you already have done that for the other system that we operate. But I do strongly suggest that you do that. If anyone has any questions for us, like I said, please pop it in the Q&A, and the team, as you can see, are on standby to answer those for you. We will be putting this out as a video on our YouTube channel, so you will be able to check back on it and recap on a few things if you need to. We'll be doing that at some point next week, and you'll be sent a link to that. You can also find out information on our institute. So go to picoteinstitute.com, register for free, and we have a whole host of online courses. We have videos, we've got a range of resources, including lots of facts and our operating manuals as well. So all of that information can be found from picoteinstitute.com, which is a fantastic free resource. So I strongly suggest that you also use that. So do you guys have anything that you'd like to add to that? I'm just going to pop this in the chat.
And maybe one thing of this pump is what I like about this pump. And I have used mini pump. Also, I have used it actual job site before I came to work with Picote. But what I like most about this system is that you get the resin instantly. When you connect the hoses and you start the coating, you get the resin into the pipe when you press the button. So of course there's still use for the mini pump, but then you have to wait till you get the resin end of the hose, and you need to discard the hose and you lose the resin plus your coating hose. But with this system, it's much more convenient and faster to start the coating. And also the resin is more affordable than the DC1000 and faster curing. So
that's actually a really good point, Kimo, and thanks for bringing that up. So to put that into perspective, it's around 30 to 40% cheaper than the resin on the DC100E. So that's another great benefit for using this. And also it's a little thicker as well, so it's given a really good coat each time as well. So
actually,
again, saving on time. Yeah,
So-
very convenient. You can see this is significantly bigger packages that they come in, nice big buckets. So that does obviously reduce the cost a little bit. So that's why it is a more affordable solution. But this resin is very strong, isn't it, Kimo? It's strong. It has still a good flexibility as well. It is a really excellent resin to use for any of your rehabilitation projects.
Yeah, you get a bit thicker layers than with the DC1000. And how these are filled when the cap is taken off. And well, I have an empty canister, but this weighs like 14 kilos and the catalyst weighs 11 kilos, so 25 kilos of resin. So then I just fill it up here. But of course, more convenient is that you have like a small canister you fill first with this, and then you can just pour it into the pump. Mm-hmm. But it's much more convenient than the mini pump. But again, if you have a smaller job, the mini pump might be better there. So it's not like a bad system compared to this. They just have a different purpose.
Yeah, 100%. So, like I say, you can get training on this system, or like with any of Picote systems. There's also the possibility to have some on-site support from Picote. So maybe you're doing your first coating project and you need a little bit of a helping hand with that. And that's also a possibility. So please reach out to us if that's something that you would be interested in. If you want to find out more in terms of pricing, that's something you need to talk to one of our partners about. We've got a network of resellers worldwide, and you can find details about them on picotegroup.com/resellers. I'm going to just put that in the Q&A as well. So you've got lots of links there. So if you get a chance, take a note of those. They come in very handy. If you forget, don't worry, just go to picoteinstitute.com or picotegroup.com and you can find all the information there. You can also reach out to myself or Kimo or Yuka or any of our team at any time. Go to picotegroup.com and you'll find all of our contact details there. So just look under contact for that. We will be having another webinar, which will be next week on the 9th of April. That will be looking into reinstatements with Picote millers and tooling as well, which for those of you who also do lining, I think you'll find really beneficial. That'll be the same time, 3 p.m. BST, and I shall put a link to that also in the chat for you. There we go. That'll take you through to our webinars page, and you'll be able to sign up for that next one as well. Again, we'll be doing that with our fantastic team from Finland there. So make sure you sign up for it. Okay. So if no one has any questions for us, I'd like to thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. It's a very straightforward system. So obviously we're taking our time today to show you how you put everything together, but it's really very straightforward. It's really reducing costs, it's reducing time on site, it's significantly reducing time on site because the cure times come down so far with it. It's a really great system. So if you want to find out more, reach out to us, reach out to your reseller, or look up picoteinstitute.com or picotegroup.com. Okay, well,
So thank you for your interest and see you next week.
100%. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Yuka, as always. And thank you, Timo. Fantastic job. Really appreciate it. And look forward to seeing you again next week for our webinar on reinstatements. Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for your
Thanks.
time.
Bye-bye.
Have a wonderful day.